Welcome back. Hoax bomb threats continue to disrupt the aviation sector. It's been going on for the last 1 week. Planes have been grounded. Passengers have been unnerved. Over 100 flights across major carriers, IndiGo, Vistara, Air India and Akasa Air, Vistara included, were forced into emergency security measures after these threats. Now, though they've turned out to be fake, the fallout is real. There are flights that are delayed, disrupted schedules that passengers have faced. There's anxiety among passengers and airlines as well. We are approaching travel season. There's Diwali just around the corner. And then, of course, November and December are usually when people take vacations. So why exactly are we seeing these hoax calls? We'll try to decode that. But here's what has happened in the last 24 hours itself. At least 30 flights have received these hoax calls. They're either made on social media or emails have been sent. 10 IndiGo flights, 10 Vistara and 10 Air India flights have been affected just in the last 24 hours. A statement has been issued by all of them respectively to say that passenger safety is paramount and all measures are being taken. But the fallout of these calls is a hefty one, because there's a lot of things that need to be looked into. Fuel dumping needs to be done by these aircraft once that call is made or once that alarm has been raised to ensure that they land safely. There's an additional burden of fuel that needs to be added in case of diversions. There are unscheduled landing charges that have to be paid, specifically if these locations are international airports like the one that we saw recently in Canada. You have to provide for accommodation both for passengers and for crew. The grounding of these aircraft also means that crew needs to be replaced because the same crew can't be flying you for that long. There's an alternative route that needs to be looked into as well. There are costs that add to that, and as per industry experts, this cost comes up to about 15 to 20 crore rupees. So it is taking a toll on the aviation sector. It's also causing anxiety among the passengers and, of course, the government. So is this really a coincidence or is there a bigger conspiracy? We ask our guests. Jitendra Bhargav, author and former executive director of Air India, joins us. Sanjay Lazar, aviation expert and CEO of Airlines, joins us as well. Jitendra Bhargav, let me begin by asking you. It's been 8 days now, 8 straight days, and we're seeing these threats, hoax threats that are being made via different platforms. Now, so far, the government has maintained that this looks like pranks. But do you believe that? Because it's been going on for, like I said, 8 days straight. Can this be held up as a prank?
You know, it's a fact that in the last 9 days, over 150 calls have been received, and each of them have turned out to be a hoax call. Of course, not before the flights that were operating had to be diverted, passengers subjected to security checks, baggage security, costing the airlines quite a bit of money. Now, the question that needs to be asked is, can this be allowed to continue? 9 days, we have noticed that yesterday in the last 24 hours, as you said, 30 prank calls have been received. But a call when received is not a hoax call. It turns out to be a hoax call only after the mandatory drill of subjecting the aircraft, passengers and baggages to a security check is done and you don't find anything. Now, the question that people have to be asking the government, can the Civil Aviation Ministry, which has done a lot in the last 5-6 days, nobody can deny that fact, getting more air marshals, risk calibration, making checks at the airport more stringent, coming out with a law that the pranksters will be taken to task, put on a no-fly list, etc. But is that all? And can this stop the tamasha of these calls being made? I'm deliberately using the word tamasha because it's been going on for so many days. And now comes the basic question. The Ministry of Civil Aviation certainly does not have the wherewithal of tracking down the calls and thereby the culprits. So who's going to do that job? Naturally, our investigative agencies. What have they done in the last 8-9 days? All that we know is that some of the calls were traced to Germany and London. But what next? They can be using high technology, undoubtedly. Nobody will be foolish enough to just make a call from the mobile phone and they can be tracked down and traced and apprehended in a matter of a few hours. The question that we have been asking as an airline person is, how do we put an end to it? Do we not have adequate technology to get them in the shortest possible time and take them to task? Because if we don't do it, They'll continue to make calls, whether it's for fun, whether it's to harass India, whether it's to shame the Indian aviation, affect the aviation industry image, country's image, etc. One does not know.
But how would we
Now, the
differentiate that? I also ask that because, Mr. Bhargav, a lot of these threats have been made on social media, which very often is being done using VPNs. It can be routed to n number of countries worldwide, and you would never know where it originated from.
no, I wouldn't buy that argument. You see, let's put it this way: the culprits are smart. We need to be smarter. If they are using the VPN network, you can move from one place to another. It's not easy to get the IP address. The question is, can we allow this tamasha to go on? Or do we need to put an end? Now, question is, have we explored all avenues of using the help of the countries from which these calls are supposedly being made, social media platforms, giving them legal notice to this effect? Something more needs to be done. We just can't be helpless in this matter. That look, if yesterday there were 15 calls, today there'll be 20 calls, 25 calls, and we'll go to the drill of grounding a flight, delaying the flight, subjecting the flight to a security check, etc. Something needs to be done. As a common man, as a traveler, one is bound to be asking this question: what is the government of India doing? Have we
Absolutely.
explored all avenues? Have we explored all our technical wisdom that we have, or the engineers that we have, the experts that we have been able to do it? Because let's not wait. You see, if you recall, Prime Minister once made a statement: "ये संयोग नहीं प्रयोग है." Is this an experiment? Is it a coincidence and later becomes an experiment? Now, what is it
And if
that we
there
are
is a
doing?
larger ploy at place, then we have to nip it in the bud. And Sanjay Lazar, the government is mulling a lot of actions, including amendments to the existing law, because right now, as per the law that we have,
You know,
action
you are
can be
again
taken
saying,
only.
you're saying the same thing. Ministry of Civil Aviation has done everything that was possible,
Sure,
that was required to be
sure,
done.
but they are
But
still
can
mulling
that,
to do more. They are
no,
still
but
looking
can
to
that
make
put an end?
amendments because right now we have rules as per the law where action only can be taken against someone if a call is made while the flight is in the air and not on ground.
Give me a minute, let me explain. Yes, you will take stringent action against the culprit. But the question is, first you have to catch the culprit. The action comes is secondary to the primary job of catching him. And that is where I've been questioning that where have we done and what have we done in the past 9 days to instill requisite confidence in the aviation industry that once a call is made, irrespective of the technology he's using, can we reach him?
Sure.
That's my question.
Sure, and confidence building measures are required, Sanjay Lazar, especially since we are going to be seeing perhaps more travelers. Diwali is just around the corner, it's festival season. We are going to be seeing more people wanting to travel. Is this something that could deter some of them? Because it is bound to instill some sort of anxiety if such calls are made with such frequency.
Poonam, first of all, I'd like to just say the government has failed totally. There is laws on the books. There are provisions. You're incorrect. It controls even people hoaxes made on the ground. It's a 1982 act. The ministers just referred to it today. I've been referring it to for 7 days. It is the Suppression of Unlawful Acts 1982, which was amended in 2010. Clause 3.1 talks of bomb threats on ground or at airports or anywhere. It punishes people for life. The problem here is, where do you find them? Like Mr. Bhargav correctly said, we should have had the Ministry of Home Affairs looking at this and had a have a complete, a consolidated move. You should have had your IB, your RAW, your digital agencies. Look at the US. We only have to look at the US. Look at 9/11. It happened a year later. They passed the Homeland Security Act. In 2003, the Homeland Security Division was formed. You had 33 departments, sections, and emergency services coming under one roof. Today, the NSA reports to them if they need cyber surveillance, the FBI, everybody helps the Homeland Security. We don't have some system like that in India. Okay, so if some alternate were to be made, that is one of the things I would have imagined the Home Ministry should have gotten. Be that as it may, today we've had, and I've tracked till 5 o'clock, 46 calls. 13 Air India, 11 IndiGo, 11 Vistara, 12 Akasa. That's a huge amount of calls in 24 hours. And we've crossed 150, like Mr. Bhargav said. Absolutely right. Which nation undergoes this? This is a concerted effort from outside of our country. I said this 7 days ago. Maybe, we've not tracked them down, but let's talk to, the UK. Let's talk to the German government. Let's talk to the social media agencies. You have high court judgments. You have the IT Act that provides that. But we are running around, in circles, I feel. I'm sorry. And it's hurting the country. It's hurting the traveler, and it's hurting the airlines most of all. I
Absolutely,
mean,
because the cost is really high.
yeah, it's 150 calls I've not had. In all my 38 years in aviation, I've not seen 150 calls. This is a ridiculous joke.
Is
So
this
we need to.
is this then because we don't know what we're dealing with? Is this a problem we didn't see coming, Mr. Lazar? Is that
I
why
think
is
the
that why you
problem
think
we
we're running around in
underestimate.
circles?
I think it's a problem we underestimated. We called it pranksters. We called it other names. We should have seen it coming. I don't want to put a name to it. There are investigative agencies. Let them look into it. The truth will emerge eventually. Whether it's A group, B group, C group, or a collection of it could have been a collection of hackers doing this for all you know. Okay, but let's find out. We did not see this coming. We are unprepared, and it's ironic. The nation with the most intelligent IT professionals on earth is suffering something like this, which it should never have. You look at all the biggest IT companies in the US. Who heads them? Indians. You look at all our IT companies, they're servicing all these American companies. Our IT geniuses would have sorted this out. We should have used the wherewithal of our government. This is cyber terrorism, as I call it, and we must treat it as such. The suppression of unlawful acts gives you permission to jail somebody for life. Let's not talk about no-fly list and all. I'm sorry. I'm not somebody who let's take off the gloves and treat this for what it is. It is criminal. Simple.
Mr. Bhargav, last 30 seconds to you. All of these actions would be reactive. Are there any proactive measures that can be taken so that we're better prepared for a situation like this in the future?
Absolutely. And the proactive measures will come out of the experience and the ability of our people to snap them. And then you say, I'm going to be taking, they're using this kind of high technology. I will have better technology to nab them and take preventive measures. And that is what have been seeking from everyone, because the media has been counting the number of flights. Let's count the number of days that have gone by and the culprits have gone unapprehended. Now, that is what I'm looking for, that let's put the pressure on them. They must be taken to task, because reporting every day the number of flights and have impacted losses, inconvenience, cost to passengers is one aspect. And this kind of a thing will continue unless we can reach them and they have that fear in them. Yes, the government of India, investigative agencies
That fear
can
of law
be
has
just.
to be instilled, that has to be ensured, because it's been 9 days now. Over 150 flights have been affected. We can only look at the surmounting losses that airlines have faced and the anxiety, of course, that passengers are continuing to face. On that note, I thank you both gentlemen for joining us here on this edition. It's a wrap from my side on Plain Speak. Thank you so much for tuning in.